All right, so hi everyone. We have with us the legend, Mr. Shivnarine Chanderpaul from West Indies. Thank you very much for joining us. Just a brief introduction, not that he needs any introduction. More than 20,000 runs in the international arena. A legend for West Indies, more than 10,000 runs in Test cricket, average of over 50. And we've seen him do it so many times for West Indies. And now he's here, the coach of the USA team. Thank you very much for your time, Shivnarine sir, and welcome for this interaction.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So just to start with, I mean, most of us saw you batting so well in the 90s, and we're going the old school way. So if you can just start with an autograph from your end. So we'll do that, sure. If you can do the honors for us.
No worries.
Thank you so much. Now just going ahead, you're here at the Musa Stadium, the Sister Mortgage Women's Regional Championships organized by USA Cricket. Your take on this so far, the tournament, looking at the games, the facilities over here, if you can share your thoughts.
Well, the facilities is amazing. I don't think I've seen anything like this so far out here in the US. This is really nice. Turf wickets, lovely outfield. They have so many cameras around to watch all the views of whatever you want to see back. It's amazing to have something like this out here. Yeah, definitely.
Well, that's great to know. And then my next question would be, I mean, you have seen the games over here. You've seen a little bit of the talent with respect to the girls and the women's cricketers who have played so far. So just your take, the interest, the enthusiasm, if you can share your thoughts on that.
Well, obviously, it's, I've seen cricket at all different levels and club cricket, and even back in my home country, Guyana. I mean, the standards out there is pretty much decent, good, better than what I've seen back home, even for guys cricket out in my country. Like the girls are playing at a decent level. You've seen areas that they can improve, they can get better. They're still young. And that is why I'm here. I'm here to have a look at that, and also making sure that the squad that I have, we can do some work on them, get them ready and up to speed for the upcoming tournaments.
That's great to know. And well, going ahead, I would just like to get your thoughts. So we had this movie coming recently, which was based on the 1983 World Cup. And your son, Tagnerin, he actually played the role of Larry Gomes in that movie. So how was that experience for him? If you can just share it, just because we are all cricket fans, and then the movie came on cricket and your son was part of it. So that's something we can talk about maybe.
Oh yeah, definitely. He was asked way before COVID while we were in St. Lucia, and the guys approached him and they asked, and he told him it's okay to go ahead and go and do the movie. And yeah, I'd done that way before COVID also in England, and they couldn't bring it out because of COVID, but he was extremely happy to be a part of it. I know he got to do almost everything except speaking. But he enjoyed it, and he had a lot of fun doing it. He got to meet some of the actor and actresses out there, which was really good for him. Yeah, and these days he's just going as a movie star, so well, I was asking him if I need to make an appointment to see him.
That's great. I mean, good to know he enjoyed the experience. And my next question is, I mean, you have played with your son at the first class level after retirement. I mean, how has that experience been, not just with respect to cricket, but just like a memory, because batting with your son at any level, I mean, I'm sure you must have probably enjoyed that.
Well, obviously it's good to want to be right there next to him to see what's going on. Being on the field of play, you can pick up anything that areas he needs to improve, areas he need to work on, and it's always good to be right on the field at the same time, to know exactly what you need to work on it with him on. Always excited to be there and playing with him. So he had probably the same feelings, and me being there by his side playing with him, and he was happy with that also. But also not too much when he's not relaxing a little bit on the field. I'll look at him a little bit and he was pick himself up a bit,
Sure, great. Moving ahead, I mean, I'll just ask you, when you played cricket, if you can name, I know there are a lot of talented players that you played with and against, but maybe top 3 batters from your perspective, having watched them when you played, from one from your team or maybe a couple more from some other teams, just sharing your memories or something special that you would want to share?
How long back that was?
Well, in the 90s maybe.
Which team?
Maybe one from West Indies and a couple other teams, maybe one from Australia, one from India, one from Pakistan probably.
From Australia, I used to admire Steve Waugh.
Okay.
I mean, I look at his brother Mark, like his stylish ways. He go out and stroke the ball. I enjoyed him, but Steve was the guy who, would stood out for me. He would go out there and our bowler would try to pepper him, and he would stand up and fight and fight and fight. And at the end of the day, he gets 100, whatever, but he will never, shy away. He would stand up and fight. And whatever he does, whatever he needs to do to survive. And I mean, that alone, you give respect to a man for that.
Sure.
Go out there and fight. Also, for us, I mean, Brian is one of the guys you look at, and I mean, when Brian wants to make runs, he just go out there and him that day. You look at him in the dressing room, see him always doing things, the way he's getting into the nets, the way he wanted to hit more balls. You tell yourself, Brian looking to make some runs today. Brian, once he gets in, he's going to get some runs. India, you look at Sachin at times when he gets in, he's going to go big, and he's as solid as ever. Get him out earlier is problem there. You admire these guys for those things. You look at Virender Sehwag and the shots he would play, and he's not worried about anything, and he would keep on playing the shots. And look, Rahul is there also, and you have other guys, or the Laxman, who used his wrist so well. And in the past, I've seen Azharuddin hit balls from outside off through leg, and take the same ball from outside off and hit it through the off. And you look at all these things and you learn from these things.
Sure.
I mean, Sri Lanka, you look at Arjuna batting, and he will turn over the strike so easy, and at the end of the day, just look up on the board and say, well, this guy is 50 already and he hasn't done anything, Arvind also. These are guys, and they bat so easy out there, and you thought, this is how it's been done. I mean, I wish there was a few players who could still do those things, and you wish that the young players could just look at these things and learn as much as they can learn from those players. That is how you learn your cricket. You're still learning. You're never too old to learn. You have to always want to learn.
Sure. And just one more question. If you look at the bowlers that you have faced, I mean, the 90s era especially, there were so many exceptional bowlers. The stats are there. We have seen so many of them, like the fast bowlers, the spinners, everything else. So if you can name maybe 3 bowlers that you really looked forward to facing, it was a challenge, but you were looking forward to it maybe?
Well, I mean, there's one guy from Pakistan named Wasim Akram.
Definitely.
He would always find ways to get you out. I mean, it's not like a batsman you're looking forward to face him, but if he has the ball in his hand, it's going to be definitely a challenge to deal with him. And Australia always have Brett Lee there. If the ball is in Brett Lee's hands, you have to open your eyes, because he would always run in and come hard at you. He's not one of those guys you could take lightly. You always have to keep your eyes open for him. There's also McGrath in their team, who would always hit good areas, line and lengths. Shane Warne is also there. Sri Lanka, you have Murali or Bass.
Yeah.
These are guys you have to look at, and every team you go wrong, you would find bowlers you always have to keep your eyes open on. So, I mean, in the Caribbean also, we have all our bowlers, and when we play against each other, it's never easy.
Sure.
And they all come in to knock your head off. So, yeah, so it's always a challenge everywhere you go, and you have to be prepared and tough enough to deal with these things.
Sure. Yeah. Just one more thing I would like to ask is, now you are here as a coach for the women's team. Growing up in the Caribbean, when you had such an exceptional team previously in the 80s era, they were unbeatable. So now with USA Cricket developing the way it is, I mean, if you would probably just share your experience, like how do they approach this? I mean, obviously the opportunities are there, players like you guiding them. So all these things would hopefully culminate into something in a few years maybe. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, definitely it takes time. Look, I've watched women cricket over the years, and in the last 10 years of development, that happened over that period of time. And women cricket today is like a force to reckon with. I mean, everything takes time. right?
Sure.
It takes time. You have to put the things in place, and hopefully you get the girls to work with and develop them to make them better at at every department in the game. So we obviously have some work to do. I mean, the girls have good talent, but we need to make sure that we sharpen up in every area, because you're gonna play against top teams that had years and years of preparation to get where they are today. So we definitely are behind, but we're gonna have to put things in place to make the girls better to get to that level.
Well, that's great. Shivnarine Chanderpaul, the legend from West Indies, the coach of the women's team for USA Cricket, and he's here at the Musa Stadium, which happens to be the 213th ICC approved ground. And Shivnarine Chanderpaul, he shared his thoughts with us over here on USA Cricket, his experiences as a player. We got some insight into his memories with his son Tagnarin, who's coming along in the ranks. But thank you once again, Shivnarine, for your time, and we appreciate you giving us this time for the interaction.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Cheers.
Thank